Okay, today is Sunday. It is 2:21 a.m. It is May 18th. I was watching this episode of Titans of Tomorrow, and this guy was on there. Tyler Marsh wants this guy. I heard on the street they're attacking this morning. So this guy's Luca No Limit. And so this guy started trading starting at 2020, right? And so it's approximately about 1 hour and 16 minutes and 1 second. Actually, it's exactly 1 hour, 16 minutes and 1 second. Now I reviewed that the second time around, and uh, and uh, and he made this comment. He made this comment. He actually he made this comment, which struck me very very hard, really. Um, so he asked me this question. I mean, he asked whether it was a question or not. He made this comment. Uh, the comment is, "Do you love trading?" That's what he asked. And then he says, well, I enjoy it. I thrive in it. I love it. That's what he said. He just he's excited to trade. And so um, then I get a conflicting information from some other guy, someone else who was on the same program, and he talked about the day that he uh, became profitable is when he really didn't care about making money from the market. So I suppose it means the same thing. So 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 the question is, do you enjoy trading? Do you enjoy trading? So now I'm asking myself, do I enjoy trading? I have to say I don't know yet. Uh, I don't know. It's challenging. It's certainly challenging. So I have to ask myself this question: Do you enjoy trading? So if you again, with everything in life, if you love what you're doing, you're gonna excel. So the question is when I'm trying to pull my hair out, trying to figure this out, when I'm trying to when I'm attempting to solve something, to 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 figure out what I'm doing is causing this issue of like over trading and things like that. Am I still enjoying it, or is it because there's nothing else that I can do? Am I doing this because there's nothing else to do in life right now because I'm a convicted felon? Is that why? Is that the only reason that I'm doing this, or am I doing this because uh, do I love trading? That's the question I need to ask myself. This question: Do I love what I'm doing? Do I love uh, now? All my life, I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about this, and I really haven't loved anything that I've done in my life. And so now I have to ask because if I loved what I'm doing, then I would have excelled at something. But I've never excelled at all. Okay, I've never excelled at anything. Okay, uh, so I was a chess champion in junior high, three years running for the 3 years that I've been there, once every year. But I stopped doing that as soon as I entered high school, and then my grades were essentially the C average. Okay, and then when I was in college, essentially it was like C plus average. And then when I started working, it really never crossed my mind. And I graduated from college too, but nothing tugged at me. Nothing induced me into like loving something that I've done. There was nothing. It's 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 like it seems to, it's like all throughout my life, there wasn't something that drew me intensely. There wasn't anything that caused me to excel at anything in this life whatsoever. But I did tend to do, when I was tasked to do something, I tended to do things as best I could, with an honest attempt to get certain things done, because it was my task. But that was aside from work, because the school was for the benefit of me, and so anything that involved in the benefit of me, I attempted to I attempted to quickly get it done, because of that fact. Because so if I look if I so when I reflect on the life that I've led, and anything that had the benefit of impressing myself, I attempted to suppress it and be satisfied with mediocre type of work. Anything that had to do with me. But anything that had to do with other people, especially like doing some sort of work, I attempted to do some work with the deficiency that I had, and it's difficult to do when there is a duality of my self needs and the needs of others. I had to step up above to satisfy others, but I attempted to do what I could do with the heart not being there. So that interview, with Titans of Tomorrow, and this guy named Luca No Limit, and he's posing this question. He's posing: Is your heart in trading? Where is your heart? Is your heart in trading? So I'm asking this of myself right now. So what is it? So what is it? Are you? So I'm asking this question now of myself. So are you doing this because? So this is a really good question. This is a very very good question. Are you doing this because there's nothing else that you can do, or are you doing this because you want to do it? Okay, this is a very very important question for me. Okay, so I alluded to the fact that there was nothing else that I can do, in order to fill the time between retirement, right? So when I retire, there's going to be some Social Security that's going to be coming in. But in between then, am I just filling up the time to do this? Is that why I'm not successful? Is that why? Okay. Then is that it? Or am I doing this because I'm enjoying the challenge? Am I doing this because I enjoy the challenge? So that's a really good question. So where is your heart? So the question is, where is your heart? So honestly, I have to say I don't know where my heart is. I'm trying, but it seems like I'm like half-hearted. It seems like the reason why I'm consistent failing and going through the motions is because I'm half-hearted in, or maybe it's just that I'm not. Maybe they should have cast me on Dumb and Dumber. Okay, maybe they should have. Maybe they should have cast me on Dumb and Dumber because I would have been legitimate. Is that what it is, or is it that I'm half-hearted? Am I half-hearted? So the question that needs to be answered is, where is your heart? It's like going through the motion of something half-hearted because I have to. Okay? Do I have to do this, or do I want to do this? That is the distinction. That is the distinction I need to make, because that's gonna make a tremendous amount of difference in the quality of the effort that I'm placing in this occupation as a day trader. So so the question is, okay, another question that I ask myself is, okay, so if I was employed as a car salesman, am I going to love it? Okay, or am I doing it because that's the only thing that I can do? Uh, so I have to ask this question: Do you really want to do? Do you really want to be a day trader? And what are you willing to do about it? That's the question I have. Okay, so where is your heart? So where is your heart right now? Where is your heart? Okay, is your heart in day trading or something else? Okay, where is your heart? That is something that I cannot answer right now. I don't know. I really don't know. And the results have and what has resulted. I think that's probably why. I think that's probably why most people can't handle it. Most people can't do this because you have to. You really want. You really have to. I mean, I saw this 17-year-old guy. And he's profitable and he's got his own company that's teaching people, and he said that he taught like thousands of people. He's 17 years old and he's taught already thousands of people. And and the question and the question is do you really want to do this? Do you really want to do this? Do you want to be a trader? Okay, so do you is it in your life? Is that really why you want to do this? And I think that's probably why 99% of the people cannot do this, because first of all, it's hard. Okay, it's hard. It's not it's so so okay, so let me see if I can clearly define what trading is, okay? Okay, trading. Okay, so what is trading? Trading is essentially doing the work of identifying uh, a particular event in the market. Whatever resources there are, it's used to define what the current situation is in order to make a determination of what will happen in the future. Okay, and so so what is trading? I need to understand this. How so I have to clearly define it to weigh whether I love it or not. Okay, so trading is essentially what I've so far discovered is that I'm taking my hard-earned money. Okay, I'm using my hard-earned money and employing my skill set in the discipline of the financial market to extract money from the market. That is the intent. Okay, so in order for me to do that, I have to build up the skill set in order for me to take money out of the market. And that skill set is simply this. Okay, I look at the chart and the information that is there in the market, and then I make a determination, and then I put a risk on, and then when I do that, then statistically speaking, I will be positive. Okay, it's going to be a positive benefit from it. So every day, what I have to do is look at the charts, because I'm a technical trader, and then make a determination on every part of it, and then I have to figure out how I can maximize the gain, and then extract money from the market. Okay, so that is the definition of a day trader. What is the definition of a day trader? A day trader, to specifically speaking, looks at the chart and makes a thesis, and then put some risk on, and then in overall create an instance where my win to loss ratio is positive. Okay, it has to be a net positive, with the fact that the win to loss ratio plus the gain amount, okay, the gain amount and the amount of risk that's involved, right? So the amount of risk, the magnitude of the gain, okay, And then the win to loss ratio, all three combination creates a net positive. And when that net positive is, when the net is positive, then I'm making a positive gain in my trading. So why do people love it? Okay, so why do people love trading when it's so difficult? It's like I'd make a mistake and I'd like almost try to pull my hair out trying to figure this out. But why is it? What part of day trading, what is it is making it, maybe it's the reward. Is that why people love it? Is the acquisition of the skill set the loving part of it, or is it the benefit of is it the benefit that's loving it? It's an occupation. It's an occupation, okay? It's an occupation. So which part of trading is loving it? What does it mean to love what I'm doing? So what does that mean? What what so I'm trying to define it for myself, okay? Uh I need to define it. Okay, I need to define what makes day trading, what part of it that I need to transition into loving what day trading is. Okay, I need to transition into it. So far, I've been doing this because of necessity. I admit, I admit, number one, I'm not profitable right now. I'm not profitable. I haven't made a single penny. And in fact, I lost about $50,000. Okay. So now the question is, okay, so I'm doing this and I'm trying to understand, uh, I'm trying to distinguish between the need to do it and loving it. Okay. And so when people say they love it, when the people say that they love it, do they love because they're because of the rewards that comes from being in discipline, or is the love in solving something? Is that what it is? Is it becoming successful? Okay, is it becoming successful as a day trader? Is that why? Is it the challenge? So let's say that I have let's say that I have let's say I am now a consistently profitable day trader. Okay, so whenever I go into the market, I make money. Okay, so there's essentially no surprises anymore. Okay, let's say I'm in that situation. Let's say I'm in a situation where now I'm profitable and nothing surprises me whatsoever, and I can take money out of the market at will. So uh, so do I love it? Is that what's going on? Okay, is do I what part of it is loving it then? Okay, so I built up the skill set. Now I know what to do, and I can take that skill set and then start making money. Okay, so which part of it? What part of it is it? Is it the love of? Is it so speaking? So which part of it is doing that? So essentially, trading involves a computer and myself and connection to the internet to get the data, and then the interactions between the market and myself through those things will allow me to conduct business on a daily basis. That's what it is. Okay, so that's the other part of it. Okay, or do I like? Am I in love with it because I can say to the world that I'm a day trader? Is that why? So so I have to ask this question. So where is your heart? Okay, have I beaten the dead horse too many times? So I have to understand this. So where is my heart? Okay. Um, so where is my heart in this? Where is my heart? Am I doing this because of the allure of the money? I think that's probably what it is. Initially, I think 99% of the people, I mean, uh, I think initially 100% of the people do this because of the allure of the money, the benefits of being a day trader. I think that's the reason why. And then soon as people find out it's so difficult, and their heart really is not in it, or they're not, uh, they're really they have not committed all the resources that they need. in order to become profitable as a day trader. So they left, okay? Or or they're preoccupied with their resources with something else, so they cannot devote um, so they cannot devote the time and the energy in order to make this work, okay? So so that's why 99% of people cannot make this work, because the 17-year-old guy says that you have to be what did he say? He said something. He said that you have to be you have to like you have to like you have to devote everything. You have to spend an enormous amount of time. You have to be a fanatic. I think that's what he said. You have to be a fanatic to this in order to become profitable. I can see why. The way that he talks, and the amount of information that he knows, I can tell that he's like, I mean, he's definitely. I mean, you have to like, what was the word that he used? But he essentially, you really have to you really have to dive into it. See, so now if I were to entertain this idea of what trading is, essentially, I boiled it down to, on a surface level, on a basic level, there's four things. Essentially, four things. One of them is a setup. Okay, all professionals talk about this, and after a while, it becomes second nature to them, and so they can do this like just just uh, just waking up and doing it. So they can do that. So that's the first part of it, is understanding how the setup works. So for me, on a personal level, trading is essentially a breakout. Everything is about a breakout. Okay, it's a breakout. Trading is about a breakout. Even if something is range bound, it's breaking out from where it was to the other place, from point A to point B. It's a breakout. Even if it's trending, when it's definitely trending, it's going from point A to point B. It's a breakout. Everything is a breakout. So trading, essentially, on a fundamental level, is boiled down to something called a breakout. Okay, so it's a breakout. It's a breakout, and so I have to figure out what this is. And sometimes there's a fake out. So what it will do is it'll be range bound. It'll just jump right back and just go wham, slam right down, right? It'll take whatever the situation is, and then just break right down and go reverse. And that obviously, the setups that I'm using, one of them will definitely fail, right? Because I'm expecting, when it goes above, it broke through, which means that its intent is to move beyond that point where it broke. And when it does a retest, and then, oh, very good. Very good. So that's why the break and retest is very, very important. So when it breaks through, it could okay, so when it breaks through and it comes back, but there's no retest, it's going to go plummet right through. So that's one scenario that I can think about. Okay, so that's another part. And then I thought about, okay, so when something is range bound, what it will do is it doesn't go all the way down to there all the time. What it will do is it'll go up and it'll be right here, which there's a gap, and then it'll bounce back up and do that, and then drop down, and so it's not exactly the same point. It's not an ideal situation. So so essentially, that's what setup is. S- just trading is just that, setup. And then I have to figure out where the entry point is on the break and retest. Essentially, it goes up, comes back down, and then it retests it. But if it goes up, then I get in. Okay, then I get in, and then ride it right back up. If I don't do that, then as soon as it goes up and I catch that and drops down, it could drop all the way down, and the trade is a loss, right? So so the critical part is looking at the entry point. Okay, setup, entry point, and I set my stop loss just in case something happens, just like that. Break and retest fails and goes the other way, and I close out the trade before it goes like and then just it ends up in a very very heavy loss, right? And then the other part is profit taking, okay? And so somewhere in between, there's I need to be able to trade manage. That's what it is. So now I'm recollecting I'm recollecting how I have been trading. And last week, what I've noticed is that the internet was out. Okay, the internet was out for a brief moment at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm attempting to make some trades, and I get tilted. Okay, and I get tilted, and then I lose like four prop firm challenges, like like just bam bam bam. Okay, and 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 here I am. I'm my hours of work has reduced significantly, and so the money that I'm taking in has been severely hampered, and I'm attempting to afford these challenges. And then I ended up like losing like four challenges within a matter of an hour and two. Fifth year into this, and this guy named Luca, he's been trading, and he's bought a brand new Porsche, and he's been doing this. He's been doing this maybe 4 to 5 years, and he's that good. So so essentially, that's all it is. There's And then last week, what I've noticed that I'm like emotionally bound, because soon as I chalk up that loss, I tend to just my mind flips. It become it just flips. It just flips. And so flipping means that the logical side and the subconscious side just breaks apart. And then unfortunately what happens is the governor of the body, which is the logical side, just sleeps, and the subconscious side just controls the body and just takes over, and then does whatever it did. So I'm asking myself, where is your heart? Where is your heart in this? Where is your heart? Is your heart Do you really want to be a day trader? That's the question I have to ask myself. That I have to ask that question of myself. Do you really want to do this, or are you just filling the time in your probation? Filling your time for probation is going to be another 5 years, and by the time you're going to be 61, 62 years old. Okay, that's when people start to retire. At about 65, 60 years old, 66 years old, people start to retire. I'm at the point where now I see, even my own mother said, I've never met anyone who makes money from the market. Okay, even my own mother said that. Even my own children says, hey, I shouldn't be doing this. Okay, and then I've been posting things on LinkedIn about trading, and even though I'm not even profitable at all, I'm writing about it. And I have a YouTube channel where I am documenting this journey, and I may or may not make it, but I'm still going for it. Okay. So so the so I'm doing this, and the question is, I have to ask this question of myself: are you doing this because you're desperate to do it, or are you doing this because obviously that's true. That's true. You're desperate. You're desperate to do this, so that's the only reason why you're doing this. Okay, and you're attempting to give yourself enough resources to get this thing done. Uh, but the question is, you have to ask this question: are you so so if your heart is not in it, the money's good. The money is obviously good. The rewards are great. It's life changing kind of a benefit from doing this, but but you have to ask yourself: is your heart really in it? Do you really want to do this? And if it is, then you should be able to solve this quite quickly. And some of these people figured this out in like 6. I mean, this guy's Titans of Tomorrow. The host is saying, okay, if most people can learn everything in about 6 months. Okay, that's what he said. Most people can learn this in 6 months. And the way that they're talking, definitely they're way beyond. They're just way beyond my understanding. Right now, what I'm just talking about is support and resistance. I finally figured that out. Okay, it's liquidity, which is essentially similar to what support and resistance is, right? So essentially, it's support and resistance. Okay, it's essentially a support and resistance, uh, and that's essentially what it is: support and resistance. Okay, and the fact that it moves by a breakout. So now just covering it up is understanding where the profit target is and where the stop loss is. So it's in a nutshell. In a nutshell, it's setup, entry, stop loss, and profit target. Okay. And each of those components in itself has expansive subject content. Okay, so now I'm asking myself, so where is your heart? Do you really want to do this, or are you doing this because it is an out of necessity? Then if it's truly out of necessity, then what is going to help you transition into loving what you're doing? What's gonna help you transition into loving what you're doing so that so that it'll be natural for you and you're gonna enjoy it. You're not gonna dread over what you're doing. You're not gonna. So what does that mean? And how are you gonna change that? How are you gonna transition? How are you going to transition into this occupation as a day trader, right? So I was an engineer, okay? Not a very good one, okay? In fact, I was just sitting here today. I was recollecting what kind of job that I did as an engineer in Oregon, where I had no clue. I absolutely had no clue, and I was wondering the mistake that I made. I made a mistake, okay? As an engineer, and due to the fact that I was unable to learn something, and I had to apply what I needed to learn into an actual environment in the production environment, and I didn't know, and I was and I made a mistake, and so I could not pick that up. It was the subject matter was so difficult. And to this day, I cannot figure out how to do that, even though I had some training. Okay, I went to training to understand how that works, and I still didn't get it. Okay, so so they would do some lectures, but I couldn't understand. I couldn't put it together. It just didn't. And the fact it is something that some people get and some people don't get because due to the amount of work that you do, aside from actually doing the work. So there has to be an enormous amount of work that's done in the background in order to make this successful. Okay, it's obviously right. Um, so trading is a stage. Trading is a stage, and reminded of these world long distance cyclists who do this, right? Even running a marathon. So I'm trying to understand this, and what's happening is that they spend an enormous amount of effort into preparing themselves to get into the race. And when I'm trading, I'm actually trading, okay? So when I'm trading, it's difficult to keep practicing to get prepared, but because the race is only a few hours, but it takes an enormous amount of effort to prepare myself to get to the point where I'm ready to do what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay? So today's Sunday. So I have to ask myself, is your heart really in this, or are you just wasting your time? If your heart was really into it, then I would think that I would do whatever it takes to make this work. Okay? I would do whatever it takes to make it work. Okay? So so how do I make this thing work? Okay? How do I make this thing work? I have an idea what I want to do. Okay? I have an idea of a particular type of trading that I want to do. So the way that what I'm chasing right now is the ability to make is the ability at a high level to achieve on a consistent basis, like a 0.5% to 1%, maybe one or two trades. Okay, that's certainly possible, but I have to increase my efficacy. I have to improve my win to loss ratio. Okay, then all I have to do is maintain my gain rate. Okay, uh, when when that happens, when that happens with the right amount of risk, with the right amount of risk size, with the and looking at a particular win rate, okay, win to loss ratio, and then picking a location where there's going to be, I think it's called what is that? I think it's called what is that? What is that? It's called a rate, win rate, or something like that, right? R and R or something, R to R or something. It's a ratio, or it's a ratio, win to loss ratio. The win to loss ratio, and then there's the win rate. Okay, there's a win rate, win to loss ratio, and then there's a risk size. Okay, and the risk size and that combination creates a net positive. Okay, that net positive is going to is it's gonna, so the net positive determines whether I'm successful or not, right? Okay, so that's the thing. So that means that the what's the first thing that I need to do then? I have to pick a strategy, and then I have to assign a specific uh, probability to that particular setup. Okay, I have to assign a particular backtesting number. When I assign a backtesting number, then I can weigh whether then I can weigh whether I can use it in the market or not use it in the market. Okay. So when this particular setup is most effective in certain band of an area, which is going to be somewhere around the support and resistance. It's amazing to me how many people who are professionals give out all this information. Right? They're giving out this information. Professionals give out this information. So now the question is now, in a few hours, in about 12 hours, the market's gonna open, and I'm gonna be participating in the market again. Okay, and uh, so now I have to figure out. Okay, so is your heart really in it, or what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What is it going to be? Is your heart really in it, or are you doing this because of your necessity? Are you desperate to get this thing done? There's nothing else you can do. Have you found anything in life that you love to do? Okay, have you found anything in life that you love to do except watching TV? Right. So here you are. Here you are. Here you are. Here you are. All your life. 56 years of your life has been spent watching TV. 56 years of your life has been spent watching TV. Okay? So so 56 years have been spent watching TV. Now you're trying to really try to figure this out. Something you're trying to do something uh you're trying to do something that is very, very difficult to do. Okay? You're trying to do something that is very, very difficult to do. Okay? You're trying to do this, that's something that is very, very difficult to do. And what is it going to take for you to do this? All right? So the question still remains, where is your heart? Where is your heart? Okay? Where is your heart? Is your heart is in day trading or something else? So so right now, you already know what trading is about, okay? So the question is, where is your heart? Are you doing this because you're desperate, or are you doing this because you want to? Do you want to do this, or do you have to do this? Do you want to do this, or do you have to do this? Okay? So once you figure this out, okay? So obviously, okay, so I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm doing this because I have to. There's nothing I can do about it. I have to do this, and I have to see to it that I get it done. Okay, so now I've decided that my heart it really isn't in it. Well, maybe it is in it. I don't know. But I have to do it, which means that my heart is in it. My heart is in it. Okay? I have to do this, which means that my heart is in it. See, I thought to myself, okay, so where's your heart? See, I have to do this. I really have to do this. So that means that my heart is in it by default. It means that my heart is in it. However difficult it is, my heart is in it. Okay? So now that my heart is in it, so now I have to so how do I make this positive now? Okay, how do I make this successful? How do I make this successful? Now, if I lose too much, okay? Let's say that I've figured out a setup that I can use, okay? Which I did pick about 6 setups. I think there's about six setups that I'm thinking of, okay? So so there's roughly about 6 setups that I've documented, okay? So these are the 6 setups that I'll be using with the 4 as a foundation. So I figured out what these setups are. So now I have to assign. So now it's a formula. It's a formula. It's called a net positive. It's called a net positive formula, okay? It's called a net positive formula. Trading is about net positive because everybody loses, okay? Net positive. Okay, so it's net positive. Trading is about being a net positive thing. I've already established that my heart is in it by default because I have to do this. Now, now, uh, now trading is essentially about net positive, being net positive. Net positive. The equation is this: net positive equals win rate. Okay, so win rate. It's a formula of win rate times the risk size and times the win to loss ratio. Okay. Win rate. Win rate. This win rate is going to be win to loss ratio plus the so what would I call the what is that? The gain versus the loss. Okay. Stop loss profit to the loss ratio. Uh, the profit ratio, profit to loss ratio, profit to loss ratio. Okay, and the other is the risk size. That's going to determine how many bullets that I have, right? So how many? So that determines how many. That's going to determine how many successful trades that I can make and how many losses that I can make before I find out whether something is working or not. Okay. So, so that's going to be based on that formula, which is net positive is based on the win to loss ratio, times the profit to loss ratio. Okay, profit to loss ratio, times the risk size. Okay, and it's gonna be the number of, so it's gonna be it's a formula based on those three things. Okay. So now, how do I ensure that whatever I have is successful? It's by backtesting, right? Backtesting backtesting is going to help me figure out when I'm in the market whether I'm going to be successful or not. Okay, that's the that's that's the that's the that's the primary way of uh, determining whether I'm ready or not. Okay. So 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 how do I backtest something? How do I backtest something? I can forward test by using small amounts, real time. Okay. I can do that real time. The other part is I can figure out something that allows me to backtest. Uh, so now it's something that I should have done a long time ago. I should have done this a long, long, long time ago because I have to specifically I have so now that I have okay, so now that I have figured out what trading is, okay? So I figured out what trading is now. Okay. So essentially I figured out what trading is. Now I have to assign numbers to that formula that defines what trading is. Essentially, it's a game of net positive. Trading is a game of being net positive because some people win, some people lose, and the people who win will lose sometimes, and most of the time they'll win. And even if they're losing most of the time, the when they're winning at those times that when they're winning, their winning size is bigger than losses, and so that makes it that gives them the opportunity to make money from the market because they're net positive. So it's a game of being net positive. And the intriguing part about solving this equation is uh, taking that combination of those three things, okay, which essentially is the win to loss ratio and the profit to loss ratio, and then the risk size, and that's gonna define how successful I am, okay, and then the market provides a certain number of opportunities. The market provides maybe I mean it's going to vary, okay? For large gains for the market, the large gains are are less often, but smaller gains are more often, such as the toggling inside between the range bound situation is far more than trending, okay? And sometimes when it trends, especially in and sometimes in the what happens is in the commodities and the indices, sometimes there will be days like maybe 10% of the time, there's going to be 10 to 20% of the time the market's going to trend a significant amount of trend, but that only happens like once a day, right? Just once, and then you have to ride that train. So that the opportunities are more so targeting something that is for profit somewhere in between uh, the tightly range bound situation and then that long trending kind of thing that's happening, like the gold that okay. So what's happening is that it seems to me that the market is stabilizing. The securities market is stabilizing, which means that when the securities market is stabilizing and is doing better, what people will do is they'll take money out of the gold and then dump it into the market in order to appreciate their investment. In times where there's distress in the market, the money will flow out of the stock market and into gold as a haven, okay? Because it's a time of distress and gold is used to shelter themselves, shelter to shelter themselves, right? So now what seems to be happening with that, I can there was a huge drop in gold uh, last week. Okay, so that seems to be what's happening. So now trading now essentially has been boiled down to something called a net positive. It is a function of it is a function of the win to loss ratio, and then the win rate, and then also the risk size. Okay, so Now I can use this to fine tune my trading, okay? Which I haven't done, which even though I've been trading for 4 or 5 years, because it seems to me the need to make money and the rewards that I received from the market when I didn't know what I was doing and I was applying something that is flawed in thinking that whatever I was doing is positive, uh, usually doesn't turn out to be a positive thing because I've lost money for the past 5 years. Okay, I would make money at certain points, but I would lose because the method, the setups that I've been using, and the way that I've been under the influence of emotion and all that stuff has caused me to be essentially okay. Emotion, lack of an edge, and risk management. Those are the things that cause me to be severely hampered in making progress in trading. So now I'm boiling it down to what trading really is. At the top level. It's called, and I have to be very thankful. I a, a thought that entered into my mind is I am so thankful for this place, Regis. I'm thankful for the Catholic, the boss who's giving me, who has given me the opportunity to survive, okay, and fund this life saving journey that I'm taking, okay, which may or may not allow me to reconnect with my own kids, okay, but this is an avenue which is giving me hope. This is hope, and I posted something on Facebook saying that okay, I'm going to prove that there is hope in life. Okay, there's hope. This hope is the hope is me succeeding in doing this, which has been a, a serious problem. I've, I I failed so many times. It's like I'll tell you what. It's like wow. I mean, it's like it's like the floor. I'm in the floor, okay? And then I would make a little progress and bam! I would make a little progress and bam! I make a progress, boom! It's been like that, but the only change that I'm seeing is time, okay? It's time is the only thing that's changing. So now I'm boiling it down to understanding the implications of all the things that I've learned about how these things that I've learned is impacting my trading, like emotion, lack of edge, and things like that. But there's going to be that edge as long as I understand it, as long as I understand what how to use that information. So, um, so I've clearly established. I had to ask myself this question: is your heart in it? Yeah, of course it is, because I have to. Because there's no choice. I have to do this, which means that automatically my heart is in it. Whether I like it or not, it's in it. How hard it is, it's in it. I have to do this. So, now where do I go from here? Where do I go from here? I have to clearly substantiate. So maybe I need to figure out like back testing now. I need to figure out how to. So what I need to do is I want to save some money so I can get a computer. Either get a payout, which has been a problem. Okay, it has been a problem for 3 years now, almost 3 years. Uh, I, I essentially have spent every penny that I have. Okay, so now, so now I'm trying to. Okay, so now what would the next step be? Okay, the next step is to concretely understand the step by step process, and I have to like I have to. So I saw this military training about this parachute jump. Okay, I saw this YouTube video about this person like in a room uh, on the ground. Okay, not on an airplane, but he's like acting it out. He's acting it out, and so apparently it's so So he's doing back testing. Okay, he's back testing to before he gets on the plane to do the jump the plane, right? Parachute jump, right? And so, and I've also seen military people do this quite a bit. Maybe, maybe because maybe because in wartime there's so much emotion because bullets are flying everywhere. Okay, and when bullets are flying everywhere, there's an enormous amount of emotion that's involved, right? There's an enormous amount of emotion that's involved because it's just like the movie. What is that? A Saving Private Ryan, right? There's an enormous amount of emotion that's involved, and once you get into that situation, maybe that's what trading is too. So when I'm relaxed and not holding any trade, I have a logical thinking. Okay, I'm logical. So maybe that's maybe that's what it is. It's like when I'm like calm and collected and I'm not in a trade, I'm able to make sound decisions. And so, sure, when I'm doing like paper trading, the results can be great, but it's not a real thing. It's a simulation environment. But when actual people are dropped off in a war zone and things are going on, I mean, they're going to be frazzled, and it only happens once or twice. Okay, it only happens once or twice before something devastating happens, especially in a like a heated exchange. Because think about it. I mean, just imagine, right? When yeah, it's so I think that has something to do with it. I think that's what it's like. I was watching this Al Brooks program, and he says that people who initially start to day trade, I mean, they're when they start to day trade, a loss feels like death. That's what they're saying. That's what he says. People who are not experienced in the market, when they experience losses, it's like feeling like being like severely uh, severe compromise to mortality. Okay, that's what it's saying. So I can see that. It seems like it is very similar to a military exercise in what trading is. But the end goal, there's two things that I've solved here. It looks like okay. So there's two things that I've solved, and the third thing that I need to solve is specifically assigning a statistical number that tells me that if I employ this strategy, then I'm going to get this result. Okay, when I clearly substantiate it, then I can say that, okay, this method is effective or is not effective. Okay, but before I have either a forward testing or back testing, preferably the back testing, it's going to define whether the setup that I want to use is going to be effective or not. Okay, is it effective or is it not effective? Okay, so that's the idea. That's the reason for backtesting. So based on what I have experienced and losing so much money, um, I attribute the losses primarily due to the fact that I cannot wait for that particular confirmation. That confirmation is going to help me out. And then when I start to trade and when I assign it with the proper risk size, okay, and I wait for a certain amount, okay, that's what it is. The employment of setup, which essentially is equal to the win to loss ratio. The setup proper definition, proper definition of it is assigning a statistical probability of the win to loss ratio. That's what the setup does. I could take random numbers and that would be a random issue, right? It's going to be 50-50 or even less because I'm steering my yeah, so that's the and then I have to define okay, so how much am I willing to do that? But that's going to be based on whether there is a there's something called a there's something called reason to sell. It's going to define whether uh, that win rate, uh, the profit to stop loss rate is going to be high or not. It's going to be based on where the support and resistance is. Okay, so that's going to define that. Then the risk size is going to be based on what kind of drawdown that I have, and since I'm using prop firms, then what is the amount that I can get away with before I lose the challenge. Okay, so those are the things that I need to consider. So if I were to name, so now I'm gonna, so now I can approach it. Now I can approach it. Okay, so I can approach it from the perspective of severing myself from emotion. Not all of it, but some of them to keep me interested in the market. Now, so when I'm taking this trade, so the first one is okay. So it is essentially based on um, it is essentially based on uh, that that condition of surrounded based on the support and resistance, which are the setup. So now I'm practicing it. I'm practicing it in my mind of how I'm going to trade it. And so when a trade, when I identify that it is within a range, when it's range bound, then when it gets to a certain point, then I need to wait. I need to wait however many times it's going to be moving up and down. I need to wait for that particular signal, which essentially is going to be a green candle when when I'm expecting it to go up. Okay, so what it will do is it'll dip, it'll hit the support, but I cannot go long on the red candle. I cannot do that. I have to wait. I have to wait. So essentially, it boils down to the before earnings and after earnings. Everything is based on it's before or after earnings. Uh, I don't want to enter in the market when it's before earnings, which is essentially assigned to something that is steering towards where the support area is. And so that is essentially like earnings time. Because if I short it, I don't know whether it's gonna. I still don't know whether it's gonna be, because there's an unknown area. There's a band of unknown area. When it hits that area, then I can't be going long or short because I don't know. It has to. It has. If it's going to go. If it's going to go down, then what it's going to do is it's going to extend that red candle and drop below the support area, right? And then it has to hold. When it holds, then I can short it. But if it's there, then I cannot make a trade at that moment. So I have to wait for it. I have to wait for a couple of things to occur. Is it going to be is it uh, is it going to be a boost trade, which is going to be essentially bounce off of support, bounce off support with that green candle that's telling me it's going to go up, or is it it's going to hit that support and then break through, which is going to be uh, it's going to be Bruce, right? Bruce break off of uh, break off of support, right? That's what it is. Break off of support. The support, it breaks off of support and just keeps dropping, right? Which I saw on which I saw in gold. Okay. Now it is a bit unnerving putting size on it and trading it because it could be a severe loss. Okay, but it becomes unnerving. But in order for me to make it practical for me to, uh, and I heard from professionals that expecting like expecting getting like 10% a month is huge, but expecting 10% within a few days is very very difficult, and only very few people can do that. And people who can do that usually blow up like breach several. They can afford to breach several challenges in order for them to get to the point where they can get a payout, right? Where they can pass the challenge. So now it's like having a dialogue with somebody who's it's good to have a dialogue with somebody who knows what they're talking about, like talking about it, right? That's what's missing about the 99% of the people. 99% of the people cannot have a dialogue, a productive dialogue with a uh, consistently profitable day trader because it's different. It's the I mentioned this to a friend of mine and certain people who are in the C suites. Okay, um, people who are people who are in the executive positions like executive vice presidents and things like that. And there's called a glass ceiling. There's a glass ceiling, and they're in the C suites. Okay, executive suites, executive positions, and the reason why they're there and the reason why I'm not there is because there's something called the uh, the the duality of life, which is one side belongs on the other side of the train tracks, and one side belongs on the other side of the train tracks, and the other side of the train tracks has 99% of the people in it, and there's and the other side of the train tracks, even though they're doing the same thing, like even though they're doing the same thing, it meaning that they could, they could be washing dishes, right, in one moment while they're in college or whatever they're doing, and then once soon as they get employed in a working environment, they advance much quicker because their thinking is clearly far superior. Okay, they're um, they're essentially they're very smart, a lot smarter. Okay, their IQs are very smart. They think smart and do things that are smart. Whereas 99% of us, it takes longer and may never get to the point where we can actually achieve what they achieve in a very short amount of time, right? so so that's where the situation is. Now, see, I can't even remember what the six setups are. Okay, that means that I honestly know that my IQ is low. I can honestly say that. I can honestly say that my IQ is low because I can only remember four. The fifth and sixth one, I have to dig it up and figure what that is because it's. I can honestly say, wow, I can honestly say that my IQ is very low. Okay. Well, here, apple cider vinegar. There's 180 tablets in there. That's not my IQ. Definitely not. So the idea is to see wow. It's good to have a one-on-one dialogue. It's good to have a one-on-one dialogue with a consistently profitable day trader. It really is. Because they are the de facto, they have the information, they know what they're doing because they've proven it, and they can have a conversation of the sequences that are required to get to the point where they're profitable, right? So the conversation, I just realized something about my platform. I just realized about my day trading trading buddy of mine, right? He's also he now he seems to do well in a certain span of time, and then he'll careen out of control in a certain point. So he's still working on it. Okay, he's still working on it. He's still working on it. So it's difficult to have a conversation with people who are still beneath that glass ceiling. Okay, uh, it's having a conversation. It's like blind leading the blind. I have to be honest with it, but that's what it is. It's blind leading the blind. Sometimes some and in rare instances, the blind leading the blind will get to the right point, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of bumps in the head too, right? Because usually when people are blind, they'll run into things, and usually the first thing that runs into something is their head or something, right? When they're standing up or whatever it is, something that's above or whatever it is, the first thing you can see lumps on their head because they run into things. So now it would be great. It would be it would be it would be great one day to really essentially just talk about this straight through from beginning to the end and disclose what I've learned once I reach that point of being successful, a consistently profitable day trader, but I have to admit that I am not a profitable day trader as of today. Okay, 5 years into it, I am not profitable. I haven't made a single penny. Okay, so I don't even have to disclose any disclaimer on it because I'm just telling the world that I'm not profitable. Whatever advice that I've said, I'm just saying that I'm not profitable, right? So I'm being very, very honest here. I'm not profitable. I am not profitable. Okay. I hope to be profitable one day, and maybe I'll get to the point where people might be thinking about suing me, but only when I'm profitable, then you could probably sue me. But I'm telling you that I'm not profitable, so there's no point in suing. I'm just saying whatever advice that I have, I'm just saying that I'm not profitable, right? So So I'm at a point now, it's called a net positive. I have to be a net positive and I have to be happy with that. And I have to set aside this emotion of tilt when I get into it. I just have to realize that when I lose a certain amount of trades, that means that I'm like, it's most likely because I'm like either physically or mentally tired, that I'm not able to employ the strategy that I created when my mind is fresh and my thinking is fresh. Okay, so it's net positive. Net positive. I've already established that my heart is in it. I had to double check. Okay, I had to double check whether my heart is in this thing called trading, and the other part is it. I asked myself, okay, are you doing this because you have to? Okay, of course I have to. So that means that my heart is essentially is in it out of necessity. Okay, my heart is in it. Okay, and so the other part is to this then is what am I going to do about it? It's called improving my net positive. Net positive is based on the combination of these factors that allows me to uh, create a formula to get to the point where I'm net positive, which essentially is clearly creating an edge of win to loss ratio. Okay, the other part is creating a profit to loss uh, ratio that's higher, and then also fine tuning the risk that I have, which those three in combination is going to create a net positive. And when I create that net positive, and the risk size will allow me to, whether it's going to be 10 trades or 20 trades, it's going to define how many trades that I'm going to do, and then that's going to allow me to create this net positive result. And the name of the game of day trading is then creating a formula with that will clearly allow a net positive result based on a span of time that creates a that span of time when uh, when the uh, when the consistency is there, and that when consistency is there with a net positive is going to be a consistently profitable day trader, right? That's the formula.